Welcome to Coffee and Popcorn, where we bring you the most striking stories from around the world. We have 2 relationship stories from the world of Reddit today, and there's more than enough heartbreak for everyone. We have a young man who just found out that his girlfriend and his friend used to hook up, and a woman who's seeing a married man who wants to marry her but not divorce his wife. If you want to know how things turn out in these stories, get yourself a coffee and grab a bowl of popcorn so we can get into it.
Me and my partner have been together for a couple of years, and we've been living together for the last 6 months. Everything was fine, and I was thinking about getting more serious with her. However, about 3 weeks ago, at a friend's wedding, I met an old buddy who I hadn't seen in ages. We were chatting for a while, and then my girlfriend came up to me, and her and this old friend looked at each other strangely, and when they greeted each other, there was an awkward pause. Nothing much was said after that, though, and we went back to our tables. I didn't see him for the rest of the night. Unfortunately, we got home, completely drunk out of our minds, and I decided to find out the reason for this awkwardness. It turns out they had sex a few times, and once when we just started dating. The following morning, my girlfriend was crying, asking for forgiveness. She said that she loved me, and everything that happened with him wasn't serious. The last time she had sex with him was after we'd been together for the first time. She said that she needed it to know what she wanted. After our first night together, she didn't see me as her boyfriend, so I guess she wouldn't have classed it as cheating. Anyway, I went to a hotel for a couple of days to be alone with myself. I didn't answer her calls, and I ignored her messages. I later returned home, and everything calmed down. I understand that it's not that serious, but it constantly gnaws at me. Neither my girlfriend nor my friend knew that we all knew each other before the wedding, so she didn't really have a reason to tell me about it. I don't think I'll be able to see my girlfriend in the same way. I didn't want to leave her, because she's trying to be good. We had another conversation, and while I like to think of myself as rational and balanced, I can't help myself. She shouted at me, yelling that I'd remember this for the rest of our lives, and I called her a fool because she couldn't have sex without getting caught. After that, she packed her things and left. The following morning, she sent me a message saying she was sorry. I understand that she didn't cheat on me, but I can't see past what happened. What should I do?
While this situation is unfortunate, I don't think OP's girlfriend did anything wrong. It's just bad luck. She doesn't need to tell OP about the history of her sex life, and she had no way of knowing that she'd end up dating the friend of someone she used to hook up with. I would understand this drama a little more if this friend was someone OP spent time with on a regular basis, but it doesn't seem like that's the case at all. After this chance encounter at a wedding, who knows when they'll bump into each other again? It could be years. I think OP overacted a little bit here, but let's see what they're saying in the comments.
PM Greb says, I don't think she cheated on you. Maybe she thought your relationship wasn't too serious, and maybe, when she realized it was, she stopped seeing your buddy. That's not actually cheating, but you have to confirm it was the case. The awkwardness is because of what happened between them, which confirms that they haven't seen each other in a long time. What should you do? Well, take your time to think about this. I think her only mistake was not telling you about it, but I don't think that's too serious if she moved on. Archangel says, I'm assuming that she didn't know he was your friend and he didn't know you were dating her. If either of them knew, I wouldn't be able to forgive them. If he knew that she started dating you and didn't tell you, or if she knew he was your friend before dating you and didn't tell you, I would cut contact with both of them. If she was unaware of your relationship with your buddy, it sucks, but there's no blame here. Exactly at what point in your relationship did she sleep with your friend? That's the real issue. If it was very early on, according to modern dating practices, it's not unusual. Now, I'm from a generation where as soon as you started dating someone, you assumed exclusivity. I don't understand modern dating where people treat dating like test driving new cars. But if that's how she's used to dating, then she wouldn't have considered it cheating. Plus, it doesn't sound like this buddy of yours is someone you hang out with often, especially if he only just met her as your girlfriend at this wedding. I acknowledge that it sucks, but if your relationship is good with your girlfriend, just put it down as one of those times the universe played a cruel joke on you. If it helps, maybe go low contact with this friend of yours.
Archangel is correct. This is mostly just an unfortunate coincidence. The only thing that really matters here is if she was hooking up with OP's friend when their relationship was official.
I've been in a relationship with a married man for the past 2 years. We met when I first joined my company as his junior associate, and we spent a lot of time together. We worked very closely, and he was always nice and attentive to me. I come from a single-parent home and grew up without much affection, which made me eager to receive love or affection from anyone. I was a loner growing up and was bullied as a child, so to be protected and treated well made me feel like I was important and loved. Needless to say, I fell for Angelo hard, and by the time I found out he was married, I already had feelings for him. At first I thought it was one-sided, but when we were away for a work trip, he told me that he had feelings for me too. Angelo didn't want to act on his feelings because he was married, but it was difficult for him to push me away. Angelo told me from the start that we'd have to be together without anyone knowing. If I wanted that with Angelo, he promised to be the best boyfriend, as long as I kept our secret. I don't know why, but I couldn't say no to him, so I agreed, and we started our affair. We never met outside of work, and whenever he could come to my place for a few hours, he did. We rarely spent the night together, so our time was always limited. Angelo always spent time with his family on the weekend, so his wife wouldn't suspect anything. He told me that he wanted to be with me, but had to make sure we wouldn't get caught, so he was protecting me from any backlash or potential violence that might come from his wife. The nights we spent together were usually when his wife was away on business, and the kids were at their grandparents' house. Angelo was very thoughtful whenever we spent the night together and always prepared a romantic dinner for me, setting the mood in the best way. He always bought me gifts and got food delivered to my house on the nights he was with his family and knew I'd be eating alone. This affair continued for 2 years, and I was starting to feel like he might want more with me. I asked if he'd ever consider starting a family with me. I know that he's got his own family, but I've always wanted to be a mom, and I really love him. I want to have his kids, even though he's told me that he doesn't want any more. When he told me that, it broke my heart, and I couldn't stop crying. He said that he needed to take some time for himself so he could think things through. He also suggested that I needed time and space to calm down. After that conversation, Angelo left, and I got scared, thinking he'd want to break up with me. I started texting and calling him, asking him to forget whatever I said, and that I'll accept whatever he can give me. I just didn't want him to end things. He never replied to me and didn't contact me for 2 days. When we were back at work, he called me into his office to talk. He apologized for the silence and said he needed time to think about things. He told me that he loves me and wanted to spend the rest of his life with me, and if I was willing, he'd marry me in a church, just the two of us, taking vows with one another. Even though he'd legally still be married to his wife, he wanted to make me his wife too. He said I'm important to him and that he wants to take this step with me. Still, he doesn't want any kids with me. But in a few years, if I really wanted children, he'd consider it. I don't know if he really means it. I want to know if I agree to be with Angelo, will he one day be mine, or am I being stupid? I've been with him for 2 years, and I've been happy. He makes me feel loved, even though he doesn't get to spend a lot of time with me. Am I terrible for wanting to have his kids? Should I agree with what he says? At this point, I don't think I can walk away from him, and I can't imagine a life without him. I wish I knew what to do.
This is completely absurd. OP's already wasted 2 years of her life with someone who'll never give her what she wants. If OP's not careful, she'll find herself in a very lonely position once Angelo's had enough of this fake marriage. By wasting time with this affair, OP might end up missing out on the chance to have a family of her own. I don't know what's going through OP's mind, but I think therapy is a good place to start. The decisions OP seems to be making are destructive to her life, and when this guy calls it quits, who knows how she'll handle things. OP doesn't have a relationship with Angelo. He already has a life. All he's doing is feeding her a dream. I could rant about this for hours, but let's check out what's being said in the comments.
Top Parsley says, he knows how to sugarcoat you. From what you described, he treats you just like an affair. He seems like the type of guy who comes, does the deed, and then goes back to his real life, a life you're not a part of. You will never be the one in the spotlight of his life, his wife and kids are. Now think about yourself. Don't you want to have that one person who sees you, and only you as their life partner? Someone who will have a family with you. Someone you don't have to hide in the shadows with. I know you want him to be that person, but he won't leave his family for you. And he told you that by stating that he'll stay married to his wife. for you to accept this. He tried to make it bittersweet with the church wedding thing, which is complete nonsense. It's better to quit the job and start a new life. I don't think you can move on while working with him. You should also watch out because at some point in the future, you might be the one who's cheated on. Do a little empathy exercise and think about his wife. She doesn't deserve what you two are doing. Balanced Break says, the saddest thing in all of this is your lack of respect, not just your lack of respect for his wife and his children, but for yourself. You want to have children with a man who will what? Teach them how to lie, cheat, not keep their promises, and not to concern themselves with the consequences of their actions. Your children will grow up not being able to respect either of their parents. What you're doing is stupid. He has a family and will never be completely yours. Even if he left his wife and married you, you will become his wife, and someone else will be promoted to being his secret girlfriend behind your back. You should want more for your children than this. He's not a good person and neither are you. Please seek individual counseling and stop making excuses for your poor and hurtful choices.
I really think OP needs help. She's got nothing with this man, but since she's caught up in the emotions of it all, she might not be able to see what others so easily can. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Coffee and Popcorn, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.